Max, why do you guys think you didn't just hammer the run in that game if their nose tackle was such a liability? What's your theory?
What's the statute of limitation?
That was 2010. You got
passed,
more than 10 years.
Yeah, more than 10 years. It's time.
Yeah, no, I think we were trying to make sure that, that guys had opportunities for bigger trophies at the end. I'll just leave it at that. But I think that, it's one of those things where if you feel good about it and you know who your superstar is, you try and put the ball in his hands many times to make him successful. The problem was it was just not that it wasn't the right opponent to do that in.
He went on to say that it wasn't the right opponent because the Packers were an elite secondary.
Called them the best in football, right?
They lost Charles Woodson during the game, however, but those were his feelings, that he understood, hey, we have a superstar, but this is the wrong team to be doing this against. But Ron, what he said there was, what's the statute of limitations? I think we were trying to make sure that guys had opportunities for bigger trophies at the end. There's only two guys that come to mind here, and that's Arians and Ben, and he's claiming that guys were going for MVP of the game. Is he not?
Yeah, I mean, whose decision was that? Was that Arians? Was that Tomlin? Was that Ben that ignored the game plan? I'm not quite sure.
What do you think he's saying there?
He didn't like the game plan. He thought they should run it more, but the insinuation that somebody's trying to win the MVP or a bigger trophy. I mean, Ben didn't even get MVPs of his own team. You would think if they wanted to give him honors and awards, they would have made sure he won some of those. I don't know that. I mean, again, was it Ben's decision to just throw and ignore the game plan? Were these plays Arians called for Ben? I don't know.
To me, even though Stark's words clearly implicate Tomlin, that's not who he's talking about. He's talking about either Ben or Arians or both of them, that they were going for the big pass day. Now, maybe Ben just felt like, and Arians, the best way to win was through passing the ball. Every quarterback feels like that, right?
Right.
The best way to win is through me. I'm the superstar here. I'm the star. Every quarterback wants to throw the ball around and believes they wouldn't be a star if they didn't believe that them having the ball in their hands was the best way to win.
Ben always said, I want the ball in my hands at the end of the game.
But that is a hell of an accusation by Starks when you actually listen to it. He's saying we had guys, and he pauses and says, what's the statute of limitations? I think we were trying to make sure guys had opportunities for bigger trophies. What do you guys simply make of him levying an accusation like that? I think it's startling, myself.
I mean, to throw it out there like that makes you think that was, I don't know, if it wasn't a spoken thing, it was certainly an unspoken thing, that he wasn't the only guy who felt that way as he was watching that game play out. Like, why are we continuing to pass the ball? It must be that we're trying to get an MVP trophy to our quarterback who has played in 2 Super Bowls before this and hasn't won a Super Bowl MVP trophy. I mean, I don't know. That's a former player who was right there, and he went to that almost immediately if he didn't stop himself and say, what's the statute of limitations? But he still went ahead and said it. You know?
I don't know. I know Arians pretty well. I can't believe he would put a team's success ahead of trying to glorify one player. And I know what meant the most to Ben was winning Super Bowls. I know that haunted him, that he lost that opportunity because he always wanted to catch Bradshaw, and with 4, and he had 2, and that was his chance for a third one. You know, I tend to lead that they felt that was the way to win the game. I just can't imagine him sabotaging the team for one player or a coach's ego.
I sort of agree with you, but really what I'm asking is, what do you make of Starks levying such an accusation? Because he did.
That's his opinion. Yeah, fine. He was part of that team. He was there and is qualified to comment on it. I didn't realize he didn't play in that game.
That's unbelievable to me, really. He said they're going for an MVP at the expense of winning the game, even if they believe that was the best way to win the game. I'd love to talk to Max and get him to clarify. If you're Ben, is this worthy of a phone call? I think so, Ron.
Maybe he'll cover it in his podcast with Spence.
I sure would if
maybe,
I had.
Maybe he'll cover it. I don't know if he'd have called Max or not. I don't know what their relationship is. I assume it was okay.
Might not be today.
Maybe.
He just said the guy, either him or his coordinator or both. Now I can see, Arians is brash. Could I see a meeting during the week? Hey, we're going to riddle this team with the pass, and you're going to walk away with an MVP. Of course, they want to win first and foremost the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
But I can see that kind of talk happening.
I could too.
This is going to be your game, Ben. You haven't won it. You should have won it last time.
We can throw on these guys.
You should have won it in the Santonio game. I could see Arians saying, you're going to win it Sunday.
We're going to go up against the number 1 secondary in the league, and you're going to beat them up, and you're going to win the MVP.
I can see it, man. If it was another guy, I might not be so startled about this. But it was Starks, who is a very perceptive,
very
intelligent
cerebral
guy.
Player, absolutely.
This is incrinculant, Ron, is it not? I hate to use the word again.
No, it's not. It's incendiary. Incendiary.
Incendiary.
Incendiary. I can't even say it. I didn't go to Cortland State.
Now, what do you think of the actual, when you go back and remember that game, and I can refresh both your guys' memories, they fall behind 14-0 on the long pass, basically from his own end zone. Ben throws it up. Kimayatu misses a block, so the ball flutters up there. Nick Collins takes it in. It's 14-0.
Yep.
14-0 run. Then it's 21-3 at one point. But the Steelers battle back and make it 21-17, and we're still in the third quarter here, Ron.
And they're driving when Mendenhall fumbled.
Well, a lot happens before that, though.
Right.
They make it 21-17 early in the second half. Early in the second half, it's 21-17. They have a possession where Ben throws like 5 times, 6 times on 8 plays and gets sacked. So they give it up. First, they stopped the Packers, by the way, at 21-17. The Steelers had the ball with 9 minutes left in the third quarter, trailing 21-17, and they got pass happy. And he got sacked. They didn't go to the run. Then they stopped the Packers again. People forget that about this game. Repeated stops of Rodgers. They get it again. Mendenhall goes right tackle for 4 yards. Then 2 more incomplete passes, Ron. And they punt again. They stop him again, Ron.
This is all before the fumble?
Yes. 3 stops. 3 possessions. And then finally we have the Mendenhall fumble at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
What yard line was that on? Midfield?
The Green Bay 33.
Ooh.
And Stark seemed to absolve him. Not absolve him, but say that was a perfect hit by Matthews. And his real point that we missed at the end of that, Falsey, he said one less pick in that game, and we're 7-time Super Bowl champions instead of 6-time. So, Ron, what I would ask for you and Folsey is, what do we make of the actual criticism of the game plan and of the way the Steelers approached that game? Does he have a point or no?
Well, they lost the game, so I guess he does have a point. I can't remember them running the ball that well, and I know probably they got a little gun shy after Mendenhall fumbled.
Should they have? Because they didn't get gun shy about throwing the ball after Ben's pick 6.
Yeah, but it wasn't. You said Ben got hit as he threw it, so. But
so did Mendenhall.
I guess. Well, yeah, but Mendenhall's supposed to hold on to the ball.
Right, but that's a blown block, and the guys, as Stark said, it's a perfect hit. But I'm not sure. I guess I'm not sure I would have stopped running the ball, although they fell behind at that point.
Well, they were behind at that point, right?
Yeah, only 21-17,
right,
so
right.
It doesn't take the run game out of the equation. I think if you run 23 times for 126 yards in a game, that
maybe you should have ran it a little more.
Or a lot more. I think Starks is saying we should have pounded it 45 times in the game, and we didn't because of guys' egos. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
And I think there was a decent level of hubris, I guess, that they thought that they could just do what they wanted and they were still going to come out victorious even when they were down 21-3.
Maybe you pointed out who the offensive line was. Maybe they didn't have faith in going with those guys. Maybe if Pouncey had played, maybe they would have done more running. I don't know. You pointed out that the line was amazing that they got to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
they,
why would you?
maybe-
Yeah,
maybe they went into it thinking, we're better off not trusting this offensive line.
maybe.
I don't know.
But they did run early in the game, and then why would you
You could-
trust your offensive line to the point where Ben's dropping back in his end zone to
Right.
throw a bomb that winds up in a
you
pick six?
Also can adjust from what your original plan was.
Yeah.
Now you do have to pass to catch up, right? I mean, they were down 21-3, so they were already in that mindset of, hey, we've got to score and score quickly here.
Yes.
So, but the
But we're talking about
problem
the
was,
second half when
right,
it's 21-17.
the problem was they never came out of that.
And we're also talking about what put them in the hole in the first place, which
pick six.
included a bomb from the end zone when on a first down play. I don't know, man. This is a hell of a story.